But the word Sangha, just for those of you that heard part of it or not the whole part of it, it really is a way to address the community in a respectful and appreciative way. So the word Sangha, it also has a relationship to blood. So it is looking at a family context. So even though we're not technically family, we're creating a family community by coming in and doing this type of work together. So it's kind of the heart of the word Sangha, what that means. Sometimes the Sangha is interchanged with the word community. So with that, we'll go ahead and practice. I'll invite you to either close your eyes or set your gaze downward. As always, just taking a couple of moments to check in with your body, making sure you have the right amount of support for yourself. And often the checking in with our body, we notice our breath. And breath can be a really lovely focal point. And the reason we choose a focal point is so that our mind doesn't accidentally wander off and do other things. So we're choosing to come back to our focal point again and again. It can be your breath itself, but really it can be any sensation in your body. Your body is really your anchor to the present. And just a couple of moments here, just noticing, what do I experience in my body? Is there a pleasant sensation? Is there unpleasant sensation that I can tend to? Pain and discomfort is just wanting to be seen so it can be felt and tended to. And then oftentimes there's a big swath of neutrality. There's these moments where we're just settling. You might not feel sensation in your calves, but your calves are there. And if you bring your attention there, you notice, oh yeah, there's a touch of clothing or a sense of temperature. I'm just curious about what you're noticing in your sensory landscape through the sensation of your body. I'm just noticing these different layers of sensation. Breath itself brings us sensation through the movement of it, the stillness of it. Sometimes there's busyness around us. I know sometimes folks are driving and just listening as they're driving. So depending on how still you are, how still your environment is, you notice different layers of awareness. And that really is just a beautiful pathway. There's no right focal point. There's no right amount of quietude. We're just practicing wherever we've landed. Sometimes there's a lot of quiet in our space. You can even hear yourself swallowing, but that doesn't mean your mind is quiet. Sometimes there's a lot of busyness happening around you. And in the middle of that, sometimes what's happening is we're judging. This is good, this is bad. I like this, I don't like this. It's very similar to that. Is there pleasant sensation in my body? Is there unpleasant sensation in my body? And instead of going up into our mind and judging, I like this, I don't like this, we're just continuing to come back into our body. So our mind is saying, oh, it's so distracting. There's a lot of noise around me. I don't like it. Just come back to your body. What does it feel like? Is there tension if I've decided I don't like something? Is there ease if I've decided I feel really lovely and comfortable? So we're just checking in with our body again and again. And perhaps again, that frame of pleasant, neutral, and unpleasant. Remembering that unpleasant is just simply information that's asking us to tend. My body feels a little unpleasant. How can I tend to myself gently rather than judging? seeking the pleasant at times to help support us. Like, oh, I feel the right temperature this morning. That feels rather pleasant when I pay attention to it. And then just allowing yourself to settle into those moments of neutrality. There's a lot of spaciousness in neutrality. It takes practice because our brain is often judging yes, no, like it, don't like it. Right here in that little space between breaths, can we just land for a moment? Just notice the sensation of stillness. And then the sensation, the brand new sensation of breathing in again. Just following breath by breath. As we continue to check in with ourselves, just returning to the focal point of our body again and again. And perhaps using that frame of pleasant, neutral, unpleasant, back to pleasant again. This practice really is giving ourselves our own loving kindness. We're just paying ourselves our own attention. Our attention is a very precious commodity, and the world is constantly trying to pull it from us. But it's this choice making. Do I want to give my attention to this thing that's pulling at me? And there's a phrase in our society about sometimes using social media for the negative, doom scrolling. Sometimes we get pulled into those things, whether it's external from a device, but it can happen internally as well. Especially the more we do it externally, the more it's going to happen internally and vice versa. Our brain is just seeking patterns. And when we can take these slow moments to just seek and really notice, does this feel pleasant? Can I enjoy the pleasantness of it, even if it's fleeting? I don't have to cling to it or hang on to it. And then these moments of unpleasantness, I don't have to deep dive into it so hard that I'm stuck in the suffering of it, but I can recognize the difficulty of just a tender knee or a grieving heart and stay with myself in it and tend to the painful moments, tend to the discomfort. And perhaps this is the most loving thing we can do with ourselves as we practice the loving kindness part of the Bramaviharas, the foundation. So just being here with yourself, there's nothing more that you have to do or accomplish to practice this loving kindness. Just being with yourself, noticing when you're judging, judging externally, judging internally, Seeing if you can soften that judgment, just being curious instead. Like, ooh, I'm noticing my mind is really disliking something this morning. Can I move away from that hold of dislike, discomfort, and just see, what does that discomfort feel like in my body? Does it cause my jaw to tense up? Is my physical heart becoming a bit tightened as my shoulders wrap around it? Is my emotional heart feeling some sensation? And how can I be gentle with myself as I feel these things? And that takes us away from the story in the mind and back into the sensation in the body so we can tend with as much loving kindness as is available this morning. And may I be loving with myself. May I be kind to myself. This loving kindness is an attitude that we can practice. It's not necessarily a feeling that we're trying to get to. And I'll share in these last moments together. This is from the Yoga Sutras. This is where the Bramaviharas are written in a couple of places, but this is one. This is Sutra 133. And it says, loving kindness and friendliness towards the happy. And you might think about this as your thoughts, towards your happy thoughts. It's offering loving kindness and friendliness towards the happy thoughts. Compassion for the sorrowful ones. Joy, when you're experiencing joy, reciprocate it. And equanimity, or being undisturbed when judgment comes. These are the 4 attitudes that bring peace of mind. Loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity. And from that practice of loving kindness, again, you don't have to feel particularly loving to practice it. I invite you to bring your palms together or hands over heart or any of your closing habits or practices. And we'll end with a few loving kindness phrases. You can repeat them back if they make sense for you. And from this place of self-practicing kindness, we'll offer to others. We'll use the word we, including yourself. May we each be healthy and supported. May we each seek and find contentment today. And as often as possible, may we each choose to move with ease and peace. Take your time whenever you feel complete. You can open your eyes, find movement if that suits your body. And as always, taking that moment to thank yourself for setting aside time.